Good evening. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you. Commissioner Lopez, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have, I didn't catch your last name. McComb. Ms. McComb, can I have roll call, please? Thank you.
Chair Sherrick,
Present.
Vice Chair Quill,
Present.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Ivan Garcia, Commissioner Galande,
Present.
Commissioner Pratt,
Present.
Commissioner Carloni,
Here.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, public comments will be heard for items on the agenda or not on the agenda, excluding public hearing items. To address the Planning Commission, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the Planning Commission clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the Planning Commission clerk will be allowed to address the Planning Commission. Each person should state their name for the record. A 3-minute limitation shall be applied to each member of the public who wishes to address the Planning Commission on any item on the agenda or not on the agenda, excluding public hearings. There is not a limit to the number of items that may be discussed within the 3-minute time limit. If you require, did we have anyone require Spanish interpretation today? No, thank you. Ms. McComb, can you conduct the administration of oath for our public speakers?
Yes, if you're going to be speaking, if you can please stand and raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this body will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you.
I have a speaker card for Mr. Santos, but I don't have an agenda item. Is it a non-agenda item? Thank you. Next item is the consent calendar. Consent items are routine in nature and may be enacted in one motion. All consent items shall be considered at one time unless an item is pulled for questions or discussion by any member of the Planning Commission. Does staff have an update to the Planning Commission? Or to the consent calendar, sorry.
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners wish to pull any items on consent? No? Is there a motion to approve consent calendar?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Vice Chair Quill,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Galande,
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt,
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni,
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
A vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. The planning, and just a reminder to use our microphones when we're speaking or giving roll. The Planning Commission will first hear a report from staff on our public hearing items, and then the public hearing will be opened. The applicant will have an opportunity to speak, and members of the public will then be allowed to speak. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak must be sworn in and fill out a request to speak form. When your name is called, please come forward and speak your name into the microphone. Say and spell your name for the taped record. After all have spoken, the applicant will be allowed to respond. The public hearing will then be closed, and Planning Commission will begin deliberations and make a decision. All decisions except general plan amendments and municipal code amendments are final actions unless an appeal is filed. All fees paid within 15 days to the Community Development and Housing Department. If you challenge the resulting action of the Planning Commission in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described in this agenda or in written correspondence delivered to the Community Development and Housing Department before the public hearing. If we could please proceed with item number 2.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. My name is Angeline Mendoza, and I will be presenting item 2, Conditional Use Permit 23-01 and Public Convenience or Necessity 23-01. Conditional Use Permit 23-01 and Public Convenience or Necessity 23-01 is a request to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages under a Type 21 general license to permit the sale of beer, wine, and liquor at an existing Arco gas station and convenience store. This is located on the southeast corner of West Highland Avenue and North Mountain View Avenue on 189 West Highland Avenue. The parcel itself is approximately 0.38 acres, and it is zoned Commercial General CG1. This is an aerial map of the project site and the surrounding urbanized area. As mentioned before, the site itself is zoned Commercial General CG1, and it is primarily surrounded by similarly zoned parcels, in addition to some residentially zoned parcels. The 1,434 square foot existing Arco gas station and convenience store were confirmed of its most recent site conditions, as shown on the slide. The subject site is located within Census Tract 0054.00, which allows for a total of 5 active off-sale licenses. Currently, it does have 7 active off-sale licenses, resulting in an overage of 2 licenses, which then triggered the public convenience or necessity process with the City of San Bernardino, in addition to the conditional use permit. In addition to Census Tract data, crime statistics from the police department were also incorporated into the consideration of staff's recommendation for denial. The average crime rate for all reporting districts was 71.78, and the subject reporting district itself saw a total of 144 crimes, which exceeds the average by 100.61%. In addition to those 2 factors, proposed alcoholic beverage sales activities are evaluated for certain sensitive uses within a 500 threshold of the subject property. We see here 2 churches or places of worship, Iglesias de Restauración San Bernardino and La Luz del Mundo, in addition to 2 alcohol outlets that are currently active, Green Shack Marketplace with a Type 21 license and 7-Eleven with a Type 20 license. These 4 considerations were well within the 500-foot threshold currently stipulated by our development standards. Service stations can be considered for an exemption to distance requirements from specific sensitive uses, subject to conditions of approval in order to mitigate any possible effects from the sale of alcohol. However, staff's decision to recommend denial is based off of the crime statistics and proximity to other alcohol outlets, in addition to its proximity to any sensitive uses within 500 feet of the subject property. So at this time, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-033, denying conditional use permit 23-01, and public convenience or necessity 23-01. This project was properly noticed in advance of the hearing, and after the official date that the agenda was posted, we did receive public comment, which has been provided to the commissioners. And at this time, staff, the applicant representatives, and the police department representatives are here for any questions you may have.
Thank you. At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:10 p.m. Is the applicant present to speak? And I don't have a speaker card for the applicant. I would defer to staff. Yes, they're saying yes. You can fill it out after you speak. That's fine. But if you could just please state your name for the record. Oh, and I'm sorry, excuse me, before your timer starts, in full transparency, I want to state that I received a phone call from the applicant this afternoon, or I spoke with the applicant this afternoon about their concerns for denial. I made it clear that I could not answer any questions, nor could I provide any direction at that meeting. And so I just, for transparency purposes, wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Erica Diaz, Woods Diaz Group. Is this on?
No.
There you go.
Thank you. Erica Diaz with Woods Diaz Group, 1142 South Diamond Bar Boulevard, Diamond Bar, California, 91765. I am actually the representative for the applicant. And first of all, good evening, and thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. As a planner, I understand and appreciate you guys being here. Throughout this process, we started it back in 2023, and we've had several planners that have been working on it. The last planner before Ms. Mendoza, we had constant communication with, which I appreciate, and they did bring up the crime issue and the concern, and we went back and forth and talked and talked and talked, and we came up with conditions. So the request is a little off because we did reduce the full line of alcohol to beer and wine, and we reduced the hours. And we did whatever we could to mitigate any concerns that the police department has, because we have the utmost respect for them. So we want to work with the community and provide any kind of conditions that would mitigate any concerns. So although we do understand the crime, I live in the county of San Bernardino, I understand the crime. They are an excellent operator. They have several of these establishments all over Southern California. A lot of them do have alcohol. They do understand the privilege. A lot of them have locked coolers, which is a benefit. And like I said, we believe it should be approved. You can have them come back in a couple years. You put a condition on there to have Planning Commission or the Planning Department review conditions to make sure any issues, any concerns are listened to, that are followed. Conditions can be put on there if there's a transfer of ownership to come back to the Planning Commissions. There's a ton of different ways to mitigate any concerns. They understand, they work in the community, they understand the issues. They just want to have the right, the privilege to sell alcohol, along with the other items that they sell. So the owner is here. If you have any questions, security questions, I know the police are here. If they have any questions, we're here for them.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to speak?
Hi, my name is Kevin Bibian, Kvin Bibayan. So I'm the owner of the Arco gas station at 189 West Highland. So we purchased this station sometime in 2023. So me and my business partner, Nathan Tubian, were Arco AMPM's biggest franchisee in Southern California, Nevada, and Washington. And we were given this opportunity to buy this particular location due to the previous operators' operational struggles at this particular facility. So we were able to come into this location, clean it up, and make it just like our other locations. So something that Erica said it best is, we don't take granted for, but a privilege is selling beer and wine. And one thing that we do in many of our other gas stations is we work with the planning department, we work with the local city. We're not just selling to anybody who walks in through our door. Our gas station is a major franchise. Our POS system, which is our point of sale system, has a ID system that anytime alcohol is scanned at the register, clerk is not allowed to sell until an ID is scanned, which is the reason why for the past 16 years as a ABC applicant and alcohol seller, we've never had any sort of suspension or any sort of anything with the ABC department. All my staff is required to go through lead training through the alcohol department, which is basically steps and requirements for them how to read a fake ID. So, and I was reading the agenda. One of the public comments. One of the concerns was obviously from Green Valley Market across the street, which Ms. Mendoza stated was close by. Competition is good. That's, what business is there for. So, and, this alcohol is going to bring in tax revenue for the city, for us. And, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully we can get an approval and get our business better than what it is right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I also have one speaker, Dolores Armstead.
Okay, this is for another liquor license at 189 West Highland. Commissioners, please listen to your planning staff to deny this license. The gas station already exists. There is no public benefit to add a liquor license. The ABC already let us know that this census tract already only allows 5 licenses. We have 7. Why do we need another one to make 8? That would be 3 over our limit. We don't need another liquor license. There is no benefit to the community. There is no public benefit to anyone. And besides, the city of San Bernardino is already impacted by too many liquor stores. Having another one does not benefit any of us. Please listen to your planning department. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the commission? Commissioner Carloni?
I just want to ask that, any security cameras outside and inside?
Yeah, so we have a 32-channel surveillance system. It has 120-day storage, which is required by the franchise Arco. And, extra security measures, like we stated, we put locked magnetic magnets, locks at the doors that, if somebody who looks like they're up to no good, we have the right to refuse service. So those are our security measures.
Is your security cameras linked to the police department?
At this particular location, no, but at our other gas stations, they are. If a police department asks, we have no issue providing that to them.
Is that something that San Bernardino PD has to link to?
I haven't inquired with them. Usually in other, usually in other cities, the police department will come to us and say, hey, can we install a modem? That way we have access and, we're partners to them.
We do have a representative from PD. Can you speak to that issue? Can you please come to the mic? Thank you for attending. It's appreciated.
You're welcome. Jason King, Lieutenant with San Bernardino Police Department, JASONKING. They're currently in the process of, they have software that businesses can link into, and it's a voluntary thing for these businesses that allows us to view it randomly to increase security measures for the city. So I don't know whether or not that's currently operational, but it is definitely in the works and close to being operational, if not already.
Thank you. This is one of the reasons why I'm sorry, Dan, I'm going to jump in. One of the reasons why I asked for somebody from PD to be here, because I would like to make that a condition on ABC licenses, is that we have this connection with PD, or I don't know if the police department is looking at installing flock cameras or having flock cameras, and if that's an interest to also businesses that would have ABC licenses.
Yes, and the flock cameras, we'll be receiving, through a grant, we'll be receiving many flock cameras in the system itself. So
do you know when that will be?
I don't have the specifics on that, but I know that all of the grant stuff has been completed, so I think it's just a matter of getting it installed and finalizing contracts.
Has it been to council for approval?
I don't know that for sure. I'm not in charge of that grant.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have other questions?
Yeah, I had one more. The time frame, once you apply for your license, let's say you get approval today, what's the timeline of actually getting the license to operate?
I mean,
and to
usually,
serve?
I mean, Erica's here too, but usually, go, you can speak.
Yeah, Usually ABC takes, it's a lot of paperwork. So once the CUP has an appeal period. Once the appeal period is done, then we would start the paperwork, and there's a 30-day mandatory posting by ABC, and it usually takes them another 30 to 60 days
So about
to activate. So about 3 months, 3 to 4 months for the activation of a alcohol license.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. For clarification, was the request type 20 or type 21?
So originally it was a type 21, which means full liquor,
Right.
and then we lowered it to a type 20 when we started going through the process and starting from 2023.
Okay, staff, can you give us clarification on what the request is tonight? On the agenda, I do see type 21.
Yes, so as the applicant and their representative said, this did pass through a few case planners. So by the time I inherited it, to staff's knowledge, it was a type 21 sale general, and that's why the staff report was written that way.
So would this, I guess for staff, would this be something we even consider now if that's not the request? That's a whole different license.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Garcia, that's a very good question, because the public notice, I'm going to assume, says it's a type 21 license. If the applicant is stating today that the application is for a type 20 license, then the public notice is invalid, and any decisions made would have to be postponed to when we actually redo the public notice. And to that effect, I don't know how that may affect the outcome of the review process. I don't really know at this particular time whether or not, in certain instances, depending on the type of liquor license being requested, even if there was over-concentration, one can make a separation between a type 20 or type 21 or something different. I don't know if that is going to be the case in this particular instance, but I can confer with Angeline after the meeting going forward what we are going to do in relation to this information that I just received.
So is it a recommendation by staff to continue this item?
I would recommend that we continue the item if the applicant is stating that this is a type 20 ABC license and the public notice said it's a type 21. It's a technicality, of course. I mean, it's still a liquor license.
Yes.
It's just that one is different from the other.
Correct.
So the type 21 is an intensive, way more intensive than a type 20. So I think the noticing is fine. I understand Ms. Mendoza was the last planner. There were several planners that were working on it. And I think the planner before Ms. Mendoza was the one that I communicated with to tell them, we want to reduce it down to beer and wine. We understand, and we want to work with the community, work with the city, through any type of mitigation, but I don't think this needs to go back because we're less intensive.
Right. But does this change staff's recommendation?
So we're here in front of you to hopefully reconsider the denial and approve it with conditions. So I don't think it goes against any Brown Act or anything like that. I think it's fine because it's less intensive. It's still an alcohol license. Everything else is the same. Unfortunately, I didn't see it until too late to change it, and I didn't want it to be renoticed.
So I would like to hear
Yeah.
from staff on if it changes.
Madam Chair, the over-concentration issue is one item. A second item, and I think it's stated in the staff report why we made a recommendation for a denial, had to do with crime, and specifically one that is related to the facility itself. Now, when that crime was committed and whether or not they were the owners of the facility at the time, would make a difference. I mean, if they purchased a property in 2023 and let's say there was, some crime committed in 2022 or 2021, we may not want to hold them responsible for that because they claim that they are responsible owners. But if the data we received from the police department, indicates that the crime was recently committed or was committed in 2024, that would be under their ownership. So at the very least, I think we're going to need some time to analyze whether or not the recommendation is going to come back the same or come back differently. We understand the difference between a type 20 and a type 21, but that's not the only issue cited in the staff report for staff's recommendation.
I understand, because I believe PD's crime statistics were from 2022, 2023.
2023 was the reporting period when it was initially submitted and routed out to PD. And in terms of just their practices, that is the reporting period, and that was not just the only factor that staff had based the recommendation for denial from. In terms of planning's recommendation, we do understand and recognize, there is a difference between the type 20 and a type 21, the 21 being more intensive, like the applicant's representatives have communicated. In terms of staff's recommendation for denial, it wasn't based on the type of license. It was based off of it being a new proposed alcohol outlet in relation to the oversaturation from the census tract data, the over concentration of crime by 100.61 or 16%.
Right.
In terms of the crime statistics during that reporting period. And to, I guess, top it off, the locational restrictions between the two places of worship and the two other alcohol outlets that are kind of see there.
Yes.
So it was a culmination of those three factors, not the, the intensification of, or just a more intense license. And so staff is willing to continue this and, put more consideration in this, especially considering that, type 20 was communicated today, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments by the commission? Is the commission amenable to that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So do you need a motion for that?
We would need a motion.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to table or push this agenda item to a further meeting.
Before we get a second, is it, would PD be okay with connecting into their, I don't know the proper terminology, but connecting into their computer system? Or is that, could that be a condition that, no, I'm not saying approval or denial of this item, but is that something that PD would like to see as a condition if this were to move forward? That's a yes, okay. And if staff could input that as a, thank you very much. Okay, do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you, if we could do roll.
Madam Chair, just before roll call, just want
Yes.
to clarify, I heard a motion to table, but what you actually want to do is you want a motion to continue.
Okay,
And you want to continue that to a date certain. And so I'm going to propose the next Planning Commission meeting at your, your August meeting, unless staff feels you need more time than that.
Is that August 12th?
let's get confirmation from staff.
So staff, is the August meeting okay? Is that enough time for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So that would be a motion continue. Is that okay with you, Commissioner Garcia, since you made the motion?
It is. Make a motion to continue the item to our August Planning Commission meeting.
And also, I think since you're making the motion, we should also consider inclusion of the condition connecting with the, as part of a condition of approval for the project.
Connecting with PD.
Yes.
The-
If that's a possibility.
Are you okay with that as a
I
part of
am
your
too.
motion?
And to add the
Okay.
condition vocalized here, connecting the PD with the business.
And we can ask the applicant if his setup is, adequate for that purpose, if that should happen.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you still have a second?
I still second the motion.
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Vice Chair Quill,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez. Yes. Commissioner Galande,
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt,
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni,
Yes.
and Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 3.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I am Chantel Choi, Senior Planner with the City of San Bernardino Planning Division. I'm here to present item number 3, Conditional Use Permit 25-05, which was continued from the last Planning Commission meeting. Conditional Use Permit 25-05 is a request to establish and operate a recuperative care facility on a parcel containing approximately 1.79 acres located at 1960 Ostrom's Way within the Commercial General 1 zone. Here we have the zoning map. As previously mentioned, the parcel is located within the Commercial General 1 zone, surrounded by other Commercial General 1 zone parcels as well. The site is currently occupied by a Motel 6. To the north, we have the gas station and restaurant. We have restaurants also to the west. To the south, we have a self-storage facility, and to the east, we have the 215 freeway. The proposed project will consist of converting an existing Motel 6 into a recuperative care facility. The center will offer short-term post-hospitalization recuperative care services to clients in need. Clients are referred to the center by healthcare providers and hospitals. Recuperative care services are provided to clients for a period of 90 days. Once the 90-day term has ended, clients are provided with an option to utilize the housing program for a period of 6 months. The facility partners with programs to assist clients in finding permanent housing. There will be support staff and security on site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will be approximately 25 staff members to assist the patients. The facility will have approximately 200 beds for clients. 3 meals will be provided to the clients daily. Meals will be catered by local vendors. No direct medical care such as prescribing medicine, diagnosis of treatment or illnesses, and laboratory testing will be done. Staff members will provide support to the clients by reminding them to take their medication, helping them follow any directions that the doctors may have prescribed to them. Also providing transportation to and from follow-up visits. The clients here are 100% ambulatory. They're not driving to the facility. Arrangements are made by the center to transfer patients to the facility. The project has direct ingress and egress access from 2 existing driveways along Ostrom's Road. The project site provides 105 existing parking spaces, including 5 ADA parking spaces. Here we have a picture from Ostrom's Way of the existing building. There are no renovations to the existing exterior being proposed for this project. This is the current site layout. No changes to the layout is proposed as well. These are photos from their other facility that they're looking to establish here at the Ostrom's Way facility. Have the lounge area that they're looking to propose as well. Elevations from the north and south, and elevations from the east and west. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-027, finding the project categorically exempt pursuant to section 15301, existing facilities in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving conditional use permit 25-05 based on the findings of facts and subject to recommended conditions of approval. I just want to add that I was able to reach out to the Long Beach facility. The information that was provided to me was that currently they have no issues with their current facility that they have, and no comments were provided by PD to them as well. The applicant is here for any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:37. I have no speaker cards. Is there nobody who wishes to speak on this item?
We have the applicant here.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Does the commission have any questions? Commissioner Carloni?
In the conditions, is there any landscape upgrade and irrigation upgrade? And parking lot resurfacing, striping?
Not for this, since it is existing and they're not proposing any renovations, any additions to the existing building. There are no upgrades to the landscaping or the
It
parking.
looks like this facility should happen. And also, probably even at least painting the facility, because it's
For painting,
the exterior.
yeah, so for painting, they wouldn't need to go through building or planning for painting. So if they wanted to paint, they wouldn't need our approval for that.
Well, in the conditions, you would have to be, there's a color palette. You can't go out there and paint it purple. So that's something that should be in the conditions, that there's a color palette and the landscape.
Actually, we don't have any regulations on colors.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Coloni, we would have a color palette if the property was within a specific type of maybe a downtown specific plan area or something of that
Yeah, we don't-
nature. In this particular area, there really isn't a color scheme for staff to go by.
Yeah. Correct.
Hi. I still have the same concerns that we had last time that we visited this agenda item. I'm still concerned that we are introducing a new homeless population into an already saturated area and that they are not mandated to stay. That's a huge deal. I was really hoping that we would get PD input on that today. Apparently that's not going to happen. Is that, is he?
PD is here. Are there any comments?
Well, my concern is that at this location, the current Motel 6 location, the surrounding area is heavily saturated with homeless encampments as it is. And what this intends to do is introduce more unhoused population into this recuperative care facility that aren't mandated to remain. And that's a concern to me. And I was just wondering if you guys had any input on that.
Yes, you are correct, and it is also a concern for the police department. It does exactly what you described. Crime rates go up in that area too, drug use, and like you said, they're not mandated to stay in that facility, so it does tend to attract ancillary crimes to that area as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Galande?
Hi.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I know
Yes.
the police officer was not here during the last time that we were here to speak and explain a little bit about the program. So there is, you are correct where we're saying we can't hold clients and they're not mandated to stay. It is a volunteer program, but we do have very strict policies and procedures within the program itself, where we've discussed before, where clients are coming to us. It really is where we have a process for assessing if a client is ready to be part of the program. So being part of the program is also being actively involved in your care plan and what the next steps are to be able to get you ultimately to the next level, which would be housing or other resources. If a client comes to us and we assess that they are not ready to do that and they don't want to be involved and they don't want to stay on campus and work the program, then we understand that they're not ready to be part of our program, and we will provide linkages to get them to a shelter, where a shelter may be more appropriate because they're not ready for that. So that's something that's very different from our program. We want to make sure that it does come across clearly that this is not a shelter. This is not a program where clients are able to walk on and off the property. They are on the property, and if we have transportation that's provided every single day, multiple times a day, that takes clients over if they have a specialist appointment, a PCP appointment, appointments to the DMV. So that's something that we very much prioritize and know we want to go into a community and be an asset to it and not bring issues to it. And just to add to that, we do have letters of support that we have been given from all the different counties that we're at, and that just shows that we have partnerships in the communities where we're currently at, where we're not getting negative feedback from.
Commissioner Galende?
Okay, so I do have also a lot of concerns in regards to this particular item here. First, last time we met, we had asked for data in regards to the success, in regards to people that were transitioning from the recuperative care into like a homeless or a facility, a shelter, and there was no data that you could provide at that time. So what I had to do was just go and do my own research, right? And so I found out something in regards to the founder. I think it's Illumination Foundation, right? And there have been multiple complaints against Illumination Foundation from the staff. It's all on the internet in regards to inadequate staff, poor transition plans for patients in relations to them getting transitional housing once they leave, which is nerve-wracking in the sense that after 90 days, or let's say even 6 months, these people that have severe behavioral health issues are now going to be into the city, into our community, and usually they stay within, 3 or 4 mile radius, right? And so I understand your position where you said that these people are going to be actively involved in their behavioral health plan, but how can someone who has behavioral health issues be actively involved? When you all noted that 80%, I think, of your clients have severe behavioral health issues, and they're not mandated to take any medication. So if you have someone that's schizophrenic, how are they going to be able to connect and say, this is what I want? And they're not required to stay nor take their medication. They can actively walk off of this facility, which means that area, which consists of homes, children, schools, will be saturated with homeless people that have possibly mental conditions. That being said, the director, I wasn't sure what your name was, I forgot. You had mentioned, the medical director, had mentioned that he had 100 hours of behavioral health training. That doesn't seem like a lot of behavioral health training in this type of situation. Also, the medical director, your background is as a pediatrician. I'm not sure, based on this information, that it's going to be adequate enough in regards to the training. Also, in regards to the staff, 25 people with 200 beds, and some of the complaints from the staff has been high turnover, low pay. What's going to be their vested interest in staying there as an employee with 200 people? That being said, also, if I recall, you had mentioned that you did a drive-by and noticed that is currently being used as a recuperative care facility, 20%. What I saw, based on that 20%, was a lot of people that were out of their minds walking around that facility. So imagine we go from 20% now to 100%. That's very, very concerning. After 90 days, after 6 months, there's no guarantee that there's going to be permanent housing for these people. Of course, the other counties, they don't have a problem bringing their homeless to San Bernardino. So I appreciate that they've given you awesome letters of recommendation. I would have done the same because they don't want those people in their community. They don't mind dropping them off. That particular area is our college area, okay? It's prime area in regards to the gateway to coming into the city. We have parents that need to stay in a hotel themselves. We don't have a hotel now. That Motel 6 was basically it. Okay? So now it's going to be turned into and I know that you don't want to call it a homeless shelter, but every single thing that I've looked at online calls it a homeless shelter. I'm sorry to say that, but it's a homeless shelter for people that have gone to the hospital, they do not have a home, they don't have a place to go, and then they go here for recuperative care. They're unhoused. So those are increasing the crime. It's going to lower the home value significantly. It's not fair. We already have a navigation center that's coming up. Why not create something near the navigation center? Why that particular location? Why not have adequate staff? Why not have adequate pay? Why not make it a requirement for people to take their medication, especially if they are in that situation? But since it's not a requirement, then it's very concerning.
So there was a lot of questions in that, so I do want to introduce Paul Leon. And
Thank you. I'd like to respond to quite a bit of that because I've been doing this work for 25 years. We're in cities that are similar to San Bernardino. We're in LA. We've worked in Long Beach, and that was one of the sites you've seen. The problem and we've been researching this area for 2 years. We did our due diligence. That area already has a lot of homeless around there. And, we have no recuperative in that site. We have no recuperative staff there. So I'm not sure who you saw in there, but we've been in and out because we talked to the owner who just recently remodeled it, a couple of the floors, with the idea that we could come in and use it as recuperative care. Recuperative care works in conjunction with your navigation center. And throughout the years, in almost every city, and currently we work in 8 cities, they find that the navigation center is exactly what you said. There's individuals that have severe mental illness, substance abuse, they can't be treated. So they're just there, they can walk in and out. This facility, we have to accept them. They have a medical primary care physician, and these aren't severe mentally ill people. We do not take anybody who are SPMI. These are people with mild, moderate, usually depression, some bipolar. So what we do is coordinate their medical care from their primary physician. We have documented evidence that we have 38% of the people that come in that program get permanent supportive housing and they stay there. We have that documented. We have a couple studies that show that. With Illumination Foundation, they had 18%. So we're not Illumination Foundation. We add far more services. We actually have 40 local employees who are paid above minimum wage, who are working, that want to work in San Bernardino. They want to work at that site. We preserved them and sent them to other sites because we wanted to employ people that are in your community. We were asked to come here 2 years ago. We worked with 6 different city managers, and we worked with all kinds of people that were helping us with planning, including the current mayor, to look for sites that were going to work the best for San Bernardino residents. We're not bringing anybody out of San Bernardino. And as you notice, you have enough here to keep us busy for years. So this program and all the programs that we're currently running right now, and we brought you the letters of recommendation, you can call them. We're asked to go to other cities, and we spent a lot of time here doing the due diligence and to come in and work to help the people that are here. We've worked hours on this to try to figure out the best place. This, in my opinion, is the best place. There's people all around the areas and a couple communities around. We use students from Loma Linda, we use students from San Bernardino and some of the local colleges to train them to work with this population. In my 20 years, we've had no problems with any of the police, any of the cities that we've worked in. Have there been some employees disgruntled? I won't say there haven't been, but for the most part, and the cities, including your new city manager, because we opened up a state-of-the-art facility in Fullerton, and we were going to have that city manager who's taken over there come with us because They applauded that facility. It's in a strip mall, and it's right across from a day hab, or a children's daycare. And so no issues on that. No one even knew we were there for 2 years. And so your new city manager that's coming in knows us from there. So I will stand on our record. I feel personally, we could walk away tomorrow and go to any other city to work here. I want to work in San Bernardino. Our employees live and work here and grew up here. And so we've been trying to do this for 2 years. And the clients are still in there that need help. Our staff, who are all local here, we're just keep pushing them and saying, maybe we'll get approved tonight and we can put you to work in 20 to 30 days. I think we're just an asset to the community. I would like you to allow us to prove that. And we did it in Fullerton. We'd love for you to come Long Beach, Fullerton, Imperial Valley. We're opening up in Sacramento. So I don't know what else to tell you, but our medical director is a pediatrician, but we don't need to do that kind of work. We're modifying and looking for quality assurance and making sure that the clients meet a certain standard. So we do have nurse practitioners, we have PAs, we have psych techs, so they're the ones that are there all the time. So I hopefully I'd answered some of your questions.
If I could speak, if I could say something very quickly, I did ask staff to arrange a trip, and I didn't receive any emails on that. So we did ask for, or I personally asked for a visit, and what's not received.
We never got the request, otherwise we could take you tomorrow to see it. We're concerned that we have employees that we may have to terminate. We've already had to terminate 20 employees that are young people in San Bernardino who need to work. And we have a lot of them that are driving to Long Beach, a couple of them to Imperial Valley, because they need to work. You guys need workforce here. We answer those questions. We'd be willing, I would stay here all night. I'd take in a night to any of those facilities.
And did I hear correctly that there was a 38% placement?
We have current data in Long Beach that shows 38% of the people are housed.
What happens to the other 70%?
They either go back because to a nursing home, someplace of a higher care, and yes, some of them would go back to the navigation center. We've known Cassandra for probably 3-4 years that we worked for her recently. And so that this is an addition and a needed support to that navigation center.
And I can appreciate that you have been working on this for 2 years. We've been working on this for 30 days.
Yeah.
So if I could finish, please. So it's a little bit different from 2 years to 30 days. And so I hope that you can see that with us, that we're trying to work with you,
Right.
but we also have questions. We also want to know, as you yourself mentioned, we have plenty of homeless here. So that's out of your words, and I don't think that was very professional.
Well, I'm just
but,
saying, it's not your fault that everybody has LA.
Correct.
I'm saying
So-
we won't bring
so
people
as I was
from
saying,
somewhere else.
As I was saying, we've only seen this for 30 days now. So if you'll give us, as commissioners, time to ask questions and get those responses back from you.
Chairwoman, I just want to clarify that the 38% outcome come from us is actually double the national standard.
I did hear that of 18, I think you said 18%. Yes.
And I want to correct that it was me who trained that 100 hour to our staff, and I am a psychiatrist. And I developed curriculum for Orange County years ago and now being used by the state. So it was not taught by our pediatrician.
Right, sorry, I just didn't know your name. Sorry.
Dr. Chow, CHAU.
Sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Quill?
Yes, thank you. Okay, at our last meeting, I asked a few questions about some of the individuals that are put there for medical reasons, how they are discharged. And it was explained to me that you cannot hold them. If they want to leave, they can walk out. Is that true?
They're not allowed to walk out.
No, but they can though, right?
They cannot just walk out of our program. It's not.
No, not the program. I'm talking about the facility.
No, that's what I'm referring to the facility. They
Okay.
cannot just walk out of the
Okay.
facility.
I visited the facility a couple of weeks ago just to look at it. And my fellow commissioners here commented about maybe the shape the facility is in. It does need asphalting, the property looks a little run down compared to what we would like to see in San Bernardino. 3 stories, thin wrought iron railing around the exterior of each one of those stories, to where if somebody wanted to walk out a door, they could fall over the side, especially somebody that was possibly handicapped. You know, they could have reasons for that. This is not an interior building like a hospital. This is an outside motel. It's not designed for this type of use, in my opinion. The discharge issue, I was really bothered by that, because I know in a normal hospital, people can unplug themselves and walk out. The other question is where do these individuals come from that are going to the facility? They're coming from other regions, right?
No, they're all local,
All from San Bernardino only?
correct, from local San
And
Bernardino
how are they
hospitals.
discharged when it's time for them to leave?
So a lot of the times they're housed, like we mentioned. If they need to go to higher level of care, we arrange that transportation for them and take them to that facility. If they choose to not be at the program and they want to go to a shelter, we transport them to that shelter. They don't just come and go as they please. And I actually want to answer one of her questions that she stated earlier. You know, you guys have been
Well,
visiting.
I'm not finished with my question.
Okay.
Okay? So, so when they are discharged, they're actually taken by your transportation to another location.
Correct.
Where are those locations?
So as I mentioned, it's either, if it's a shelter they're going to, it'll be a shelter. If it's higher level of care, whether it's a skilled nursing facility, behavioral health center, detox facility, we transport them there. We don't just discharge them and then say, okay, you know, figure it out. You're no longer eligible for this program. We connect them to wherever it is that they need to go next to continue to receive care.
Okay, so you've never had anybody walk away from your treatment centers?
No, we have security. So that's kind of what I wanted to address, as she mentioned earlier, the 100 hours of training is not as far as behavioral health goes. It's actually de-escalation training for our safety and stabilization counselors, which are security there that keep them from just walking out. Currently at the motel, there's a voucher program that is being run by the city, by Cassandra, and there's also motel patrons there. So whatever it is that, you know, you guys have seen in the recent weeks that you guys have visited, I mean, it could be, again, people from the motel vouchers or just people that are there at the motel currently renting from the owner.
Yeah, there's some people permanently living there.
Yeah, it could be the
it-
motel voucher
And it
program.
looks pretty run down, and I think that's why they barricaded one of the driveways.
Again, I mean, I don't know if the motel owner has chosen to do that. He's renting his
Yeah.
property and renting it out to the community. And there's also a motel
Yeah.
voucher, which I actually want to add. Cassandra has been reaching out to us to be able to partner and provide services to the people that are there currently receiving services through the
Well,
voucher program.
The facility looks like it's in pretty poor shape.
I know that the owner has been working on remodeling the facility.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to that point, he did recently remodel that whole top floor, but the IHP and the hospitals and the health department have to combine certify it. We don't put people with wheelchairs or ADA people on the second or third floor. 90%, if not, 90% of our people can ambulate. They can do all their ADLs. They're current, many of them are seniors. It's not a street homeless program. And so the individuals around there are referred from local hospitals. Police, fire, we get quite a few from there.
And the last thing that I want to add was regarding the staffing, the comments. Sorry. The comments that you read, again, you referenced Illumination Foundation. We're not Illumination Foundation. None of those people that left those comments are our staff, because we're currently not operating recuperative care services out of there, so.
In the referral process, when we review to accept someone, if somebody have a mental health condition in the hospital and they're not receiving treatment, we would not be taking them. So we would only take people with mental illness that are already in treatment, and then our role is to make sure that they follow up with their outpatient treatment. On top of that, I mentioned last time that we do have, beside the safety and stabilization unit people, we also have licensed mental health specialists on our staff that could provide the crisis intervention if need to. But that's not part of the requirement.
So if I can recoup, because I thought last month you said that there was a small percentage that do walk out. And so today you're saying,
No, I mean, somebody could walk out. We've had really great compliance with all of our clients. They're insured. They want to stay there. And if you see one of our sites, yesterday we just did a tour for a bunch of foundations. In that facility, there's 100 individuals. We very, very seldom go above 80. We would not put 200 people in that facility. It could handle probably about 80, and many of them are hopefully going back to, a safer housing. Some are deceased. I mean, we're talking about individuals that are critically ill. They have to have a medical need to get in there. We can't bring them in.
they're critically ill, but there's no doctor on site?
They have a doctor. When I'm saying critically ill, they're in the last stages of their whatever illness. They're chronically ill. They're chronically ill. A lot of our clients have years of, diabetes, years of congestive heart failure. They got hit by a car while they're out in the street. They have severe medical conditions, and they don't need to stay in the hospital, but they don't have a safe place to go. We are that safe discharge for them.
So can you walk us through, this may be a rare scenario from what you've said, but can you walk us through, I'm a patient there, I don't want to stay any longer. I walk out the front door. What happens?
Well, before you even get to that
Yes.
part, we have I think we do a total of about 20 to 30 case management meetings with our LCSWs, our CNAs, and our physician.
So a CNA is,
certified nurse and
and a LSW?
licensed clinical social worker.
Thank you.
And we have those on site, those
Okay.
people. We have a nurse practitioner, usually on site, with medical oversight. And so as we're meeting with you, we would say, Lisa, where would you like to go? Where are you planning on going? And if you say, anywhere but here, we'll give you the options. If you want to just go back to the shelter or a hospital, we'll take you there. And we have three vans that go out 3 times a day, and our clients will wait for the van and go either to an appointment to wherever they need to go.
So if I say the shelter, what shelter are you taking me to? Because I don't believe we have shelters. Do we have shelters in San Bernardino?
Well, you have a navigation starting.
Starting.
Yeah.
Starting.
Right. So,
Madam Chair, we do have quite a lot actually,
Okay.
of organizations that provide these kinds of services at maybe a smaller scale that are kind of nonprofit organizations. So they are out there. I mean, these are the people that we liaise with when we are actually, and sometimes we give them funding. So there's a myriad
for a
of
shelter?
organizations that actually that can accommodate people, and some of them might be only for men, or only for women,
Okay.
and some of them for families, and some of them for young people.
Okay.
So there are organizations in this city.
Okay. Thank you.
We are a safety net organization, and now with Medicaid being cut and city funding being cut, we're an answer to that because we have funding from the hospitals and the medical plan to make sure these clients don't show up in the ER. Do we have people walk out occasionally? Yes. But I will tell you that Sheriff Don Barnes in Orange County, the police department in Imperial Valley will tell you we are an asset to them. So
Have you spoken with our police department directly?
we haven't. I know the staff has reached out and they didn't have a comment. We're not running here, so we don't know them.
Sure.
But I can guarantee you, we have plenty of other organizations, officers and fire, police and fire, that are welcoming us to their community because we're an asset to it.
So there was I did speak to staff at the end of last month's meeting for a possible visit. Is that being scheduled?
Madam Chair, the facility that we're talking about is the one in Long Beach. That facility used to be a hospital. And comparison, in comparison to this particular facility, what you would learn from that facility is how maybe cohesive their staff is. But if you're looking for similarity between the two, they are as different very, very different, because they took over that facility. They have modified it. Like I said, it was an old hospital, and it's a campus. This is a motel.
So what about the Fullerton one?
The Fullerton one,
We don't run that
they don't
anymore.
Yeah,
That was Illumination Foundation.
I'm hearing about the Fullerton one for the first time.
But your
'cause
city manager
that's not,
knows us.
Yeah,
So
that's
it was
not
run by
ideal.
Illumination, who you say is not up to your standards, though.
I left there 3 years ago, so I can't tell you, you
So
know,
if we asked for a tour, where would you take us?
Long Beach.
Which is not similar, though, correct?
Well, I mean, you can see the program there. This is actually easier to run because everything's front facing us. We're in a hospital right now. We have 2,600 square feet just on one floor, so it's more difficult. This one's a lot easier to run because everything's facing and our staff can see all the rooms at one time.
So the only other facility you have is in Long Beach, is that correct?
Imperial Valley.
And what is that one like?
That one is a commercial building that we remodified, and they're all different, you know, but the program's the same. And I think the important part is the city, all those cities are wanting us to expand and welcoming us. And so we have, 8 letters of support that you guys asked for last time. Not sure what else, other than I'm willing to take all kinds of conditional permits to just show you we are good neighbors and to show you it's an asset. I don't know how much longer we could keep San Bernardino staff and residents moving all over because we can't open that up to employ them. But even in Fullerton, what they had us do as a conditional permit, they said, we want to have meetings with all the local people once a month. And we said, great. And they gave us a conditional permit. We did the first meeting, no one showed up, and then they just said, fine, you're good.
Who was the we? Was that the planning commission or was that staff?
No, the planning commission said, okay, we'll give you a conditional permit because we were in a strip mall and we were right across from a daycare. And so we said, great, each month we'll have it at the site. We'll invite, the commission and the neighbors. And we did one meeting. They walked around, looked at it and said, fine, you're doing what you said you would do. And then they never came back. And that operation's been open now for 5 years.
So they approved a temporary CUP and then
No, they approved it on the condition that they could, I guess, I don't know, change it if they had. We didn't have the meetings or they had complaints.
Okay.
Mind you, that was in a strip mall. This is a much better area. There's not really any neighbors. It's kind of, we plan on hopefully purchasing that motel and renovating it and closing it off. And hopefully somewhere around there, we already have some people that want to build permanent supportive housing.
Okay. Are there any other questions by the commission? Commissioner Quill?
Yes, thank you. In this last little conversation here, you mentioned revenue, and we talked about some of the programs. I'm not familiar with all the programs that are available, but I do know that cities do send perhaps homeless people or people in need to a hotel or motel and pay for their stay. Are you going to be part of that too?
Well, Cassandra asked us if we could have our services see the people they sent to the hotel. Currently, the hotel is just a voucher program that gets them off the street and pays for rooms there. Our program encompasses mental health, substance abuse, medical oversight. So we told her, yes, we would take care of the people on the voucher program that I believe they have 50 rooms, but they're only using 10 or 11. And I don't believe they have security there. The first thing we do is put security in there and work closely with the police department and we monitor it with cameras on the complete site that we have there. We know all the people that are there, how they got there. They have insurance. We have a complete plan of treatment on all of them. We would include Cassandra's, I'm not sure
Is
if they have
Cassandra
Mr.
here?
Elliott, if they have 10 or 12 people in that.
Well, that's probably, excuse me.
Oh, let me
Yeah.
ask.
Madam Chair, she's not here, but I'm the director of the department, so I know that the city has a voucher program with that motel. And we do house people who are actually taking off the streets and house them in motels around the city. This is one of them. There's another Motel 6, which is the one on Redlands Boulevard, which also has kind of a similar mix of population. And quite frankly, the Planning Commission approved a Recoup Care facility at that motel on Redlands Boulevard not too long ago.
Correct, with the condition that they would report back in 6 months.
Yeah. And we know them also. That's Illumination Foundation.
So I know you have two ladies in the front row who keep yelling out. Do they want to say something? Can you speak at the mic, please?
I thought the letters of support were an important point because it was something that you requested of us last month. And if you actually read the letters, I don't know if you all did, but they're from County Behavioral Health, County Social Services, the city manager of Long Beach. I mean, these are not easy letters to get.
Right, it was also from a council member. I did read them.
Yeah, and they're not going to, I mean, the point was to let you know, our services are proven. Cities want us there. We're an asset, like Mr. Leon said. So, I think we have provided everything that you've requested. We offered to tour you. We'll take you ourselves. I mean, I think we've done everything we could possibly do.
I did ask for the tour.
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't happen.
Would somebody from your department reach out to us to arrange that tour?
The planning division should have.
Yeah, as far as I know, we didn't receive any request or communication.
Madam Chair, if you or any member of the Planning Commission would like to have a tour, let us know your availability. Let us know your schedule. I know some of you or most of you have jobs, so it may not be the most convenient thing for you, but if you tell me that you're available at such and such a day and at such and such a time, by all means, we will make that arrangement for you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Well, mainly a comment. We really can't compare apples to oranges. So your Imperial Valley facility is a campus, right? And you just mentioned, Mr. Elliott, that the other location is a former hospital. We're talking about a motel here, folks. And so there's a distinct difference between those two versus this one. I just wanted to make that comment.
Right. So we ran 4 motels. We've had motels that we've ran previously. Motels that are now being repurposed for home key. We actually ran during COVID. Elizabeth, we ran 18 different sites for the county. We took care of 2,400 people. So this isn't new to us. We're really experienced. And our big thing is urgency, because again, I can't employ 40 people that would be starting as soon as we could do it. I can't keep holding them and have them drive to Long Beach and Imperial Valley. They're local residents, many of them young, many of them need to work. And so I would hate to have to lay them off because we postpone this another month. I'm willing to do any condition, even if it's temporary, because I know it'll work. I know we can control that site. I know it'll be an asset to the city. I know especially with these cuts in Medicaid and Medi-Cal and to the city, we have our own funding. We can do it with. It'd be a shame to have us go. I tried 2 years to work in San Bernardino, and I've been asked from previous city councils and the previous mayor, like, can you guys come here?
But we've only seen this for 30 days.
I apologize for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And so just to kind of go back, so the motel, was that run under Illumination Foundation?
Yes.
And that's where the concern is.
Well-
The data that I have found under Illumination Foundation is horrific. It's horrible. And you mentioned that it was only an 18% transition rate, I believe. Was that under Illumination?
Yes. We're at 38 now.
Under Imperial, correct?
Under,
Imperial, your
In
location
Long
in
Beach.
in Long Beach. They're two different facilities.
but
You
it's
have-
still the same program. We're still able to move people through that program. I'm not going to apologize for Illumination Foundation. They're still running. They have a conditional permit here. They still do great work. They've helped thousands of people in the last 20 years. We're talking about proven people that have done this for years. So we just have more experience and we built a better program. And it's 3 nonprofits that are running that program. We're not the person that's running it. It's whole person care. Their executive director is here. It's Encompass. Their executive director's here. We won't gain anything off this. They're running it. We're advocating for them because they're quality programs. And I think San Bernardino can benefit from that.
I do have another question. So with these other motels that you ran, that you no longer run, is that what you are looking to do here in San Bernardino, is not run the location in San Bernardino?
The nonprofits run them.
Yes.
We just oversee all the quality and the funding that goes from the health plan to them. However, the reason why those aren't running, because the state turned them into Operation Home Key, so now they're permanent housing. I'm not sure if you have any of those in San Bernardino that transition, but had they not done that, they would still be running. And they ran well. They got people off the street. We cleared out 3 or 4 encampments in Orange County, and they were really successful. They got people off the street and into shelter and housing.
Thank you. Would you,
Madam Chair, if I would, from a clinical perspective, we don't take people who don't have medical need support to be supervision. Without Recoup, you will have homeless people with medical condition will die on the street.
Understood.
That's what I'm appealing to you.
Understood.
With the heat of 108 and it's going to go up, your homeless population are at risk of dying.
so my question is, would you guys be amenable to report back in 6 months? Would PD be willing to, if we had these monthly meetings, would PD be willing to meet with these monthly meetings to ensure, like the crime in the area hasn't increased dramatically? Would that be something PD would agree to? Yes. That was a yes, just because the people at home can't hear you. So that was a yes from PD.
Who can come back in 6 months and say that the home values in that area haven't gone down significantly?
Sure. How far away is the closest home?
Let me just stop you right there. That is not something you can consider. That's not within your purview. If the housing values of everything around there tanks, that's not something you can consider. If you did, and you denied it on that basis, when we go to court, you would lose. So you cannot consider that.
And there are no homes in that area. When we did the
Due diligence?
Yeah, the due diligence, there was not one single resident. It's all either vacant land or
Commercial.
And it hasn't happened in the other sites. Fullerton, again, the city manager that starts in August will tell you, it didn't affect the properties there at all. No one will even know we're there. But I'd be willing to come back and do monthly meetings and have you come out and see the site 24/7. Just show up.
Thank you.
We're really open to that.
Well, I need some warning so we can be there.
Of course.
Wow.
So I would, if there's no other, are there any other comments? Go, Commissioner Garcia.
I just got a couple comments. I do appreciate the passion here. I hope you guys can respect our passion. I live really, really close to that area. Last meeting, it felt like it was medically driven. I had to do some homework, so I appreciate you guys bringing out the big gun polio now. I did some research on your guys' on your organization, and your new organization is National Healthcare, yeah, and then it was Illumination before. In one of my comments last month, there was no mention of any type of behavioral specialist. Now I'm hearing LCSW. I'm married to an LCSW, so I can respect that field. I didn't hear that much, and I asked the question. So then I hear PsyD now, and I'm hearing a behavior specialist. I'm looking at the multiple LCSW, MSW letters, the council people. Those type of things to me hold weight. It almost felt like medical facility with no medical care.
Correct.
Is what I got out of it. And I'll remind you, I live up there. So the concern is with the homelessness. Personally, I think there's a benefit for the people. So you guys, I do appreciate this, and this is why I'm sure a lot of us are very passionate about it. We live here. I know a couple of us live really, really close to there, so I hope you can appreciate that. But I do appreciate the education as well from all aspects. I mean, this is a situation where, you know, we have some data, you know, yeah, it's a lot of mixed emotions in here, but I hope you guys can understand where we're coming from. But I think anything positive for the city or the people here is a win. Is it going to be a total win for everybody? Probably not. But I think overall, it's a great idea. I just got to earn the trust and see what is it. Does it really work? And I know these people have a lot more experience in these panels. Not to discredit our experiences up here. We come with a lot of great background too. But I do appreciate the positivity that it can bring. It's just I just wanted to kind of share my emotion up
No, I thank you very much for that. And I apologize. I didn't mean any respect when I said, I mean, every city, this is a national problem, not just San Bernardino. But we have enough work here. That's why we want to work here. We don't want to go to somewhere that has 20 homeless and just sit around. We want to make an impact. I mean, I'm 71 years old. I could retire, but I want to make sure this gets up and running and that more people aren't suffering. And that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, we're just losing so much money and we're losing the opportunity. And we have these incredible staff, San Bernardino people, licensed clinical social workers that work with us. They want to work here. They live here. And so we just want to prove to you we could do that.
Thank you. Commissioner Carloni?
Yeah, I just want to go back to the outside of the building, because you have wanted to make the community better, right? You want to help the homeless people. Why wouldn't you want to make the area more beautiful? Why wouldn't you want to put some money into the exterior of the building, landscaping, parking lot? Because you drive by there and you see these people coming in there in and out, that's just a bad impression.
Oh, we definitely
It's like
want
you don't care.
No, I agree with you. As a matter of fact,
And I think
Beach-
that should be part of the conditions. It needs to be improved.
Exactly. Long Beach, we're putting 10 million, HealthNet gave us 10 million to work on it and do enhancements to the hospital. It was a 100-year-old hospital. We definitely plan on remodeling it. We don't own it. We'd like to buy it and remodel the whole hospital.
And the exterior is huge. The
Yeah.
exterior needs to
No, I
happen.
agree. I agree.
If this gets approved, the exterior needs to happen.
Right, and that's a condition we could, we know we will get grants to put and make that place a nicer place. It does need some inside modifications to make the rooms more habitable for people. But again, that has to go back to you. Can we do upgrades? Can we do the parking lot? Can we get permits to do that? We certainly plan. If you look at any of our sites, and you can look at them online, they're pristine. I would stay in one. So we do want to put money into that building.
Thank you. Commissioner Pratt?
I just had a quick response just to the fact there's no homes near there. That's absolutely not true. I live very close there also, and we shop there. We use the ATM there. We eat there. So this isn't an industrial area that's removed from civilization. That's absolutely not true there. And I know you've been working on this for 2 years. I've lived here for 50. So thank you.
So to move this item along, what I hear is you would be willing to have conditions to meet monthly, and would staff set up those meetings?
Madam Chair, I think the more likely recommendation from us would be we staff can meet monthly with them. We prepare a report every month, and then in 6 months we provide you with the results of our meetings. Because having a meeting every month on this particular item is somewhat unprecedented and also can be a little bit cumbersome. But we can dedicate our time to go into their facility. We would have a perhaps selected group of staff from the city that would actually go there, show up unannounced. We'll make reports, and then in 6 months or even 3 months, I mean, in 3 months, if we find this to be atrocious, we'll call a planning commission meeting for that purpose. If it's if it works, then in 6 months we'll come back to you and we will say, these are the findings of our visits to the facility, and that they've lived up to expectations.
And that would be every 6 months?
Yes.
And that would include police and fire?
It would be planning, police, fire, any of the adjunct divisions or departments within the city that would be involved in that kind of operation.
But for the condition, can we clarify that? Because this would be a condition, so it would
Yes.
need to be clarified which staff.
Right.
So it would be-
it would be a planning department,
Yes.
community development and housing, the police department. In community development and housing, we have building and safety, so
Yes.
we want to go into the building for that purpose. And to make it kind of broad and general, any other adjunct divisions or departments within the city that would be involved in the regulation of these kinds of facilities.
And you would report back every 6 months?
Yes.
And then as far as landscaping and beautification of the area, can we put those conditions on?
Absolutely. If they're
We welcome
amenable to that condition, we might have to give them a period of time. And within the next 90 days, we want to see that you have landscaping repaired. In another 120 days, make sure the building is painted. We're going to make sure they don't paint it purple, of course. Even though there's no color palette, there's got to be some sensibility to what
Right.
the building can look like, especially because of its location. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So that's my motion to, unless there's any other comments or conditions, or anybody else would like to make a motion. But I would like to have those 2 items included in the conditions of approval.
Okay. In order for your motion to move forward, we're going to need a second.
Is there a second?
Can you please just repeat the entire motion?
Sure. My motion is to approve this project for staff to have monthly meetings and report back to the Planning Commission every 6 months on what their findings are, for them to beautify the exterior and the landscaping.
Are they going to bring a landscape plan?
Will
Yeah, we can bring one.
yes, the landscape plan can be brought back.
Yes.
We welcome that.
Thank you. So, but hearing no second?
Second.
Okay.
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quill?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
No.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Passes with 6-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Item number 3, please. Or number 4? 4. Oh, and for the record, I would like a tour. So if staff can,
We will coordinate that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Can the director, when you rewrite the conditions, will we be able to see them before they're approved, or you're approving them, or you're pushing the conditions forward based on our approval?
You already approved them.
Yeah.
He can send you the written, the final, but you've already approved it.
Thank you.
Did we decide on time parameters? I think it was said 90 days for landscaping. 90 days from startup, is that what we're saying?
Yes, within 90 days.
Within 90 days?
Within 90 days.
And then it would be?
And then within 120 days for, the exterior, within 90 days for the landscaping, within 120 days for the exterior, and then we'll have monthly meetings with them. And then after 6 months, we'll bring the results of our findings to the Planning Commission every 6 months.
Thanks. And then just one more question. What would be the process if after our meetings, we decided, wow, we've made a mistake? What would happen then?
It will be a revocation of the CUP.
A revocation and then an eviction process?
No, there'll be a hearing for the revocation. The reasons for the revocation will be presented, and the planning commission will take a vote as to whether or not to revoke the CUP. If the CUP is revoked, they have the opportunity to appeal that revocation decision. It doesn't become final until if they appeal, it goes to the city council and so on and so forth. So that's the process. Mhm. And the same thing here with this process. If you had denied it, they have 15 days to appeal your decision to the city council. So.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Chantel Choice with the City of San Bernardino Planning Division. I'm here to present item number 4, subdivision 23-01, tentative tract map number 20539, and development permit type P 23-01. Subdivision 23-01 and development permit type P 23-01 is a request to allow the construction of 30 single-family homes within a tract map number 20539 on a project site consisting of 9.68 acres located on the northwest corner of North Magnolia Avenue and West Myers Road within the residential low zone. Here we have the zoning map. The parcel is within the residential low zone and also surrounded by single-family homes within the residential low zone as well, with the elementary school, which is zoned public facilities. The parcel is currently vacant. The parcels to the west and to the north of the parcel is showing as vacant, but they are currently developed with single-family homes. The proposed project will consist of subdividing 2 parcels into 30 single-family lots, ranging in size from 10,800 square feet to 11,674 square feet, and to allow the development of 30 detached single-family homes, ranging in size from 2,021 square feet to 2,817 square feet, with attached 2- and 3-car garage. There will be 3 types of architectural styles provided. Spanish style, which will incorporate stucco finish materials, multiple wall planes for vertical and horizontal architectural articulation, arch columns, and hip roofs. A Tuscan style, which will incorporate stucco finish materials, multiple wall planes with an accent of stone veneer, and a hip roof style. And Craftsman style, which will incorporate stucco finish with veneer bricks, multiple wall planes with an accent of horizontal wood shake siding with a combination of gable and hip roof style. Here goes the vacant site from North Magnolia Avenue and West Myers Road. This will be a view from Ohio Avenue. Here we have the site plan. So as previously mentioned, the lots will range in size from 10,800 square feet to 11,674 square feet. This is within a residential low zone, which is required to have like the larger lots. 2 basins will be provided as well to help with drainage. Along Myers Road, the Lot A basin will be 11,441 square feet, and Lot B will be 11,595 square feet. Landscaping will include 24 box trees, shrubs ranging from 5 to 15 gallons, and 1 gallon ground cover grasses. In addition to the landscaping provided for each residential property, landscaping will be provided along West Myers Road, Magnolia Avenue, and Ohio Avenue. The properties will include 6-foot-high block wall on the side yard and rear yard of the properties. Here we have the first floor plan. The floor plan 1 will only include a 1-story with the 3-car garage. Floor plan 2 will be a 2-story home with a 3-car garage. And floor plan 3 will be a 2-story home as well, but with a 2-car garage. Plan 1 will provide 2 different types of architecture, which will be Spanish style and Tuscan style. Plan 2 will have will provide all 3 types of architectural styles, from Craftsman, Spanish style, and Tuscan style, as well as Plan 3 will have Craftsman style, Spanish style, and Tuscan style homes. Today, the staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopts Resolution 2025-036, adopting the mitigated negative declaration for subdivision 23-01 for tentative tract map number 20539 and development permit type P 23-01 in accordance with the section 15074 of the Public Resource Code, and direct the Planning Commission Secretary to prepare and file for the clerk of the County of San Bernardino a notice of determination as provided under Public Resources Code Section 21152C, a California Code of Regulation, Title 14, Section 15094, and adopt the mitigated monitoring and report program for subdivision 23-01, tentative tract map number 20539, and development permit type P 23-01, and approving subdivision 23-01 and development permit type P 23-01 based on the findings of facts and subject to the recommended conditions of approval. That concludes staff presentation. The applicant and staff is here for any questions you may have.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 7:38. I have one speaker. I don't know if it's the applicant or not, Michael Santos. Oh, is the applicant here?
Yes, the applicant.
Does the applicant, sorry, Mr. Santos, does the applicant wish to speak? Okay. The applicant doesn't wish to speak. Mr. Santos, if you can please come forward. Were you sworn in, Mr. Santos?
Yes, I was.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. I live right above that area. I haven't lived in San Bernardino 50 years, but we have found our home. My wife teaches at North Verdemont Elementary School. Our students go there. I have 6 kids. So I have Chavez, can't remember so North Verdemont, Chavez, and Cajon. So I have kids everywhere. My only concern is, building homes, great, tax, everything. I don't have anything against it. Just holding them accountable to, I think, what Commissioner, Carlone, yes, keeping it beautiful. And if you look at the other builder, GFR, if you go down Pompit and down Curtis, it's all dead, right? I live on what Beezer Homes put there. That stuff is still there. It's beautiful. We take walks. I'm not going to say every day, but definitely on the weekends. We walk around, we walk our dogs. So keeping that community beautiful, making it more beautiful, getting bigger trees in there. That's a very thing. If you start with a very small tree, I don't think I'll make it 50 years. I hope so. I hope the good Lord keeps me there, but that'd make me close to 100 years. I don't know if I'll see those trees. So again, holding them accountable to beautifying the community, making sure the trees are bigger, the shrubbery is good. Like I said, if you walk, that other builder has, in my opinion, hasn't done that. A lot of stuff is dying. The neighborhood's grass is dying. Whatever they planted wasn't good enough. So it brings down, and I'm not worried about value. We found our dream home. So if our home value goes up and down, it doesn't matter because we're going to be there for as long as I'm alive. So that's not what matters. It's the beauty of it, keeping the community, and as it grows, keeping it beautiful. So making sure that they put vegetation that stays there. I think they put, I forget, again, I'm not good at this. I just want it to look pretty, right? wood chips that are just gray and dead. And again, some of the areas are grown, so right in front of North Vermont, that area is not bad, but if you go in through the neighborhood, it's not as well taken care of, whatever they put in there. So that's all I'm asking of the commission, to hold them accountable, to put some stuff, some trees, some shrubbery that'll look beautiful as it grows. And that's something that, will take the next, some, what I would call baby trees. I think they're like 5-gallon trees. They're really, really small. That's what I'm asking of the commission.
Can staff touch base a little bit more on the landscaping?
Yeah, so they will be providing larger trees and also shrubbery as far as for the plants, and it is in the conditions that they have to abide by what they provide.
And is that based on the homeowner, or is there an HOA?
There's no HOA. It is based on a homeowner, but however, the trees in the along the public right-of-way is city.
City.
Yes.
Thank you. And we worked with our arborist on that.
We work with, I believe, Public Works.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, again, I don't know how it works, but just to hold them accountable,
Thank you.
they put stuff
And
that'll last.
Can we
Thank you.
maybe get code enforcement on those other landscapings where the trees and the shrubbery are dying? To just confirm.
Madam Chair, these are some of the things that we're currently trying to resolve. When we come to the Planning Commission and the project is approved with conditions of approval, it is the responsibility of the case planner to actually occasionally visit these sites, and if there are deficiencies, then they have to indicate that you're not in compliance with your condition, and if you don't comply, we're going to bring you back in front of the Planning Commission. Not everything that is non-compliant becomes a code enforcement issue, because there are several layers of responsibility within the city.
So can we just make sure that those trees are up to code?
Absolutely. If
Thank
we
you.
get some specific address and locations from this young man
If you
here,
can write them down on one of the slips
we
and turn it
will,
into staff.
we will look into it.
Thank you. Are there any questions by commission?
No, I would just like to echo and confirm Mr. Santos' comments. I do live in the area, in the immediate area, walking distance of that area. And I have visited GFR Homes. He's been in front of us before.
Yes.
And I can also agree there's some dead spaces in their area. So yeah, I appreciate the comment, and I agree with that, because I walk that area as well. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Commissioner Carloni?
So is the landscaping in the front yards and in the right-of-way, is that all done by the developer?
At this, yes. So the developer would put them in. Once the home is taken over, the property owner will be the one to upkeep the private
Is it the
property.
front yards and the backyards, or just the front yards?
It's both front
Both.
yards, and
Okay.
there are some landscaping in the back. However, we look more at the front.
And you said the smallest tree was 15-gallon?
No, so they are providing 24-inch box trees.
24 box, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? No. Did he have time left? 30 seconds.
Clarify, it's also in the, what would be considered in the public space, right? That's what I'm talking about. I know the homeowners need to take care of that stuff, but, depending on what you put there is whether, but also I'm talking about, and I don't know how to, where it's clearly the public space that it's no homeowner, it's, kind of the sidewalls where the trees are. That's
Sure.
where
So
it's-
maybe we can reach out to Public Works. Thank you. I have a motion.
I motion
To approve staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can I have a roll?
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quill?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
Yes.
And Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. I believe Jeopardy is next on the agenda.
Yes, Madam
If-
Chair, I would like to request that we actually change the order, because I have the Public Works, the city engineer here, who wants to talk a little bit about impact fees and
Sure.
things of that nature. So if we can just take
Is there any,
director's report, and then
you
we'll
guys
go
okay
to
with that?
Jeopardy thereafter. So
Okay.
having said that, I'm going to invite Mr. Japshe.
Thank you.
Right.
Here we go. Good evening, Commissioners. Good to be here again tonight to present to you the status of in lieu fees that we collect for projects. Apparently, it was brought to my attention last time that you have requested from Public Works to provide you with the fees we collected for Fifth.
Yes, I believe they were not in the CIP budget. They were not budgeted. And so my question was, wasn't it budgeted and where is the money?
Basically, we did not include them on the June 4th CIP presentation because we might cause confusion on why you collected all these fees and you're not moving forward, because we don't have a current CIP project that will incorporate all the in lieu fees that we collect. Specifically for Fifth, we collected from Sonic the amount of $35,000 and from Quick Quack $42,000, but we collect fees all over the city in lieu fees. Some of the funding, actually, we start using them on CIP project. Give you an example. If you're familiar with the location that we have on Highland and Eucalyptus, where the Starbucks was completed about 1.5 years ago, when we collected the in lieu fees, we still have that fund available to us to use on future pavement projects. If you attended the council meeting we had last time where I presented 6 projects to be included part of the RMRA SB1 funding, and I call them Gateway to the City, and Highland was one of them, including 2nd Street, Highland, Tippecanoe, Baseline, and then Waterman from the 210 to Highland. That specific location on Highland, I'm going to be using the in lieu fees to do the pavement in front of the Starbucks, and then some of the concrete work that still need to be completed. So yes, we collect the fees. We don't incorporate them in CIP projects until we collect enough fees, and then we address future CIP projects based on, the location, if there is demand based on traffic circulation, capacity, and the needs to widen the streets. Specifically for the one on Fifth, we collected only for 2 blocks. So it doesn't warrant us to incorporate that into future CIP until we collect enough fees, and then there is a need to widen the street to increase the capacity along the 5th Street corridor.
Thank you. I understand that. But if they were supposed to widen the street, correct? And we collected money in lieu of that widening.
Not only the widening, it includes other things that they have to: sidewalk, concrete, striping, signage, bike lanes, street lighting.
Yes.
It's not only for widening.
So did we not collect enough for that to take place?
Based on the frontage and the square footage and the engineer's estimate, that's what the project contributed in the in lieu fee contribution to the city. And then the engineer estimate for the improvement is required to do for the frontage. Let's say, look at example. If you look at Sonic, they're on the southwest corner, right? So the amount of fees that we have collected for that project is just along the frontage of the Sonic, which is, it could be 100 feet, 150 feet.
So if it was a condition for that business and we collected the money in lieu of them doing that work,
okay,
it would be maybe I'm wrong. My understanding would be that it was needed. That work was needed.
Yeah, but that if you do that work, you're going to be doing only that 100 feet within that certain block.
I understand.
Yeah.
But isn't it the same developer for all of the projects on 5th Street?
They sold the parcels, unfortunately. The developer of the Gateway project sold each parcel to each individual developer: the Sonic, the Chipotle, and the Quick Quack.
So are we not holding them to those conditions?
No, we're holding them in those conditions. So in order for us to move forward, and as a substitute, we say, give us the in lieu fees so we can incorporate that into future CIP projects for widening. Because I cannot widen 100 feet and leave the rest of the block. You're going to have this, curvy road, within 100 feet.
Sure.
Unless we tackle it from block to block. Give you an example: on 5th from G to H.
Yes.
And then on 5th from G to F, and from F to E.
So each restaurant or each parcel was not required to do the same amount of work?
Depending on the frontage. So I go back to the amount of the frontage that you have. So the Quick Quack frontage, it probably have more frontage than the Sonic. So that's why on the Quick Quack, we collected 42,000.
Yes.
And the Sonic, we collected 35,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
So do you know when that work will take place?
That's a good question. It has to be incorporated into a future CIP project when conditions allow us to move forward, meaning that, certain parameters have to be met as far as like traffic circulation, safety, and so forth. And we have to request additional city funding. This funding is not going to be enough to even widen 50 feet these days. I'm sure some of you in the contracting business, that's not enough to do anything in the city with that amount of money we collected. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Commissioner Carloni.
Yeah.
So that is a problem, we know.
Okay.
But years ago, when they did Hospitality Lane, they made the old developer, all the people who own the parcels, develop and widen that street. And they left it down 1 inch. And as everything started being built, then when it was all done, they overlaid it. So you widen the street before all that work. You can't wait for each parcel, you're right, for each Sonic or Starbucks, because it's 100 feet at a time, 100 feet at a time.
Yeah.
So maybe next time around when we do something like that, we need to make sure that we develop the whole street before we start building, and you can leave it, you can bring in laterals in to the properties and leave the pavement down 1 inch to overlay after everything's done.
I understand. I just thought it was the same developer for all of those parcels. And so if it's the same
Well, it was
developer.
at one time.
Right. And so if it was the same developer for all of those parcels, my question is, why weren't they held accountable to do that work?
Right.
That's the underlying question. is-
Before they sold.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, it was one project. I was involved in it 5 years ago. The developer, the ICO group, they have plans to develop both sides of Fifth, excluding the In-N-Out,
Right.
all the way to G, Chipotle, Quick Quack, 7-Eleven, Taco Bell, Starbucks.
Right.
And he apparently, I can't speak on his behalf, but he sold them separately.
But it was a condition.
It was a condition, that's correct, but we're not letting the condition go away. We're collecting the fees in lieu of the
So
widening.
was that approved by this planning commission?
Which, the in lieu fees?
Yes.
It should be part of the conditions of approval, if I'm not mistaken. Travis, Gabriel?
Madam Chair, the way in lieu fees, these are standard fees that are automatically included with specific types of projects that are eligible for in lieu fees being paid. So it would have been part of the conditions of approval for those projects if they were included by the Public Works Department.
And so they were included as a public works condition?
I have to go back and look if they were included.
Okay.
My apologies.
No,
I don't have that
I understand that.
information.
Can we get
Yeah.
that answer back at the next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, did you have something, Travis? No, okay. Commissioner Quill?
I have a question. Where do the fees sit? Do they go like in the general fund, or do you have, if,
The special escrow account is called 772. Yeah.
And then were you also going to speak on the conditions of approval for Muscoobiabi and Highlands on that TCO? That was also a question we had at the last commission.
That was something that Mr. Merrill was going to talk about, but I don't know if he had discussed it with Mr. Japshe.
What is
but-
the issues? What are
but,
the issues? You talk about that 7-Eleven gas station?
Well, Madam Chair, would you
Sure,
like-
on the corner of Muscoobiabi and Highland, across the street from I think this is the third time I brought it up, Travis. I believe you spoke to Mr. Merrill at the last meeting. Across the street from the Stater Brothers on the south side, I believe that they had conditions for off-site work. I'm not sure if those conditions were met. Is it the north side? It's the south side.
You're
And it's
referring
across
to
the
the
street from Stater
southeast
Brothers on the
corner.
south side. On the south side.
So,
Madam Chair,
The same side as Stater Brothers. Not the one on the north side.
it's the new Circle K on the southeast corner.
yeah. Did you see anything that wasn't completed at that location?
I haven't seen any off-site work take place.
Because that project was completed a couple years ago and it was under the old city engineer. So I'm not
Right.
too familiar with what was not completed. And then it's been a couple of years since
So
that.
this is the third request for those conditions to have been
we
looked
will
at.
have that information for you at the next meeting, or
Thank
even before through an email or something.
Perfect. To all the commissioners, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Commissioner Pratt.
This is just a question about the in lieu fees when they go into that escrow account. So are they then earmarked for that specific project, or can they ever be redirected to a higher priority project?
Actually, that's an excellent question.
In other words,
that's an
if we
excellent
say
question.
there's no point in widening the
Yeah.
street, but we have
Yeah.
$1 million sitting here.
Yeah, so that's that's an excellent question. It's an ongoing discussion internally, and then we're gonna discuss this with legal to see if any of these fees can be used at other locations in the city to do other improvements. And because looking at some of these locations, we might not have a future CIP along certain segments of the city roadways. So I'm not sure if Albert can comment on that tonight, or maybe we'll come back with additional information on how we tackle that. I would like to use that money where it's needed the most, along locations where we need to improve the infrastructure in the city. That's my take on that.
Albert, do you have an answer to that, or it'll come back to us?
It'll come back.
Thank you. Any other questions for Public Works? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
At this time, is there a director's report?
Madam Chair, I think we have a presentation of sorts, but we can do that after Jeopardy, right, Travis? Or you want to do it now?
I can go very quickly.
If we can do it now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just go quickly through this. It's just an update. I know a couple months ago we had a question. I want to say it was from our Commissioner Garcia that's not here this evening, but I may be wrong. It was just a question on kind of the status of things that the commission's acted on. So put together, it's kind of a little overview. It's a little bit long. It's only 26 pages. Just kind of an overview of everything that the commission has taken action on from 2022 through last month. What we did, just going through, and I won't go through all of them, unfortunately. I don't think we have the time this evening.
And can you email it to the commissioner,
Well,
to all
I'll have it sent
the
out
whole
as well.
commission? Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, so we didn't get it as part of the packet, but did want to make sure we got it to you. Basically, just the way it goes through is by year, by month. Not every month's represented because some months we didn't act on certain items or a meeting was canceled. But just the general information, what it was, where it was, what project description, all of that, and then a quick kind of status. Does not list specific permits, does not have dates. Unfortunately, that kind of information was just a little bit too much to get together given the volume. But what it does have in the summary on the memo at the beginning was over the last 3.5 years, we've had 121 items that have come through the commission with a final action. It breaks down, it's about 30 or in the low 30s for the last 3 years. This year, we're actually already at 24 going through June, so we're above pace for the last 3 years. We all know we've had some lengthy meetings the last few months. And then just kind of a quick overview on what types of items we have on there. As we all may remember, most of them are development applications, new land use items like we had tonight. Either uses or actually new construction. There are some that were street vacations. We did a total of about 5 of those. We had about 15 code amendments that made it through. You'll see on the breakdown, 9 of those actually proceeded forward and were ultimately approved through the council. 6 of them did not. One of those is an example, the short-term ordinance. We did take that through here. This body did provide the short-term rental ordinance. That did make it through here, but ultimately when it made it to council, then it ended up being denied. And then we had I'm sorry, 121 minus 101, sorry, doing quick math, of actual just development or new land use applications. Total of 41 of those are still approved or in plan check. 3 were ultimately denied through this body. Another 3 were approved but have since been abandoned. And we know that those projects are not proceeding.
Can you call those out real quick?
I can call out one of them that I remember. Down the street. Have you all seen the new construction fencing right there on the corner, around the southbound or northbound off ramp?
Yeah.
What was that? Sorry. Yes. Yes, the old In-N-Out property. Ultimately, now commission acted on that to approve a Dutch Bros.
Yes.
That is in the process now of beginning
Okay.
construction. Before that, but in this same review period, there was an old Habit that got approved there. That
Okay.
one we know then got abandoned because we've now superseded it. So it's really those types of projects. And then 20 that are still in construction right now, and 34 that have actually been completed and are open. That also includes things like ABC licenses, things like that we know are now proceeding. So I mean, good to see. As said, we've been having. It's nice to see that we have fairly consistent numbers over the years, that we're actually doing better this year. We all think that's a positive. And then seeing that the projects are moving forward. And most of those ones in the 41, and again, I won't go project by project through, but I think like last month we had 4 or 5 that got approved. That's part of it. You know, those are so recent that of course they're unlikely to be in plan check yet, but things are generally moving forward. We're not seeing a lot that are just sitting stagnant. So that was positive. That was really all I had. If we make it quick, unless we have any questions.
Is there any questions by the commission? Thank you.
All right.
Before we move into Jeopardy, I'd like to go ahead and call a recess. I will actually not be staying for that. So if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and call a quick 5-minute recess.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to try really hard to get us out of here before midnight, okay? No, really, I think it'll take us maybe half an hour, 40 minutes to go through this and take some questions. So I'm going to hopefully teach you a few things about various concepts. You'll see the categories: public meetings, public participation, public integrity, planning, and a miscellaneous category. It's in the Jeopardy format, exactly as you're probably familiar with. You'll see the statement first, and then you have to respond with the answer. I am going to take score, and so I always like to start these by inviting you to look to your left and your right, because right now these are not your colleagues, these are your competition. And we do play to win. Okay, so get into that competitive spirit. And thank you, Travis, in advance for helping to click through the slides. And so I'm going to ask for a volunteer to get us started on the board. So first show of hands, who would like to start? Okay, here we go. Commissioner Garcia, what would you like first? Okay, this law requires that all meetings shall be open and public unless authorized otherwise. Okay? That is correct. Let's see the answer. The Brown Act, yes, and please use your mics. And, okay, let's go ahead and click out of that. Travis, was that 100 points? Okay. Okay, Commissioner Garcia, you have the board. And it's just, it's first to throw the hand up, okay? Can answer, not just the one who said the tile. First for the hand to go up. And Gabriel, I'm gonna need your help to see which hand went up first, okay? Yeah. I'm keeping score. Okay, this type of speech is not protected during public comment.
Jeopardy music.
That's right. Okay, go ahead.
What is vulgar language?
No. Yes,
What
sir.
is hate speech?
Correct. Let's see it. That's another way of saying threats of violence against persons. Actually, I have to correct myself. Because actually, hate speech is protected, if you could believe it. I know. I'm gonna give you the points. Okay. But there is a distinction. So hate speech is like racist speech, xenophobic, sexist. You know, I don't like you because you're X type of person. But that is protected by the First Amendment. Where it crosses the line is saying, I don't like you because you are X, and because of that, I'm going to meet you outside by your car to escort you home. Well, I would take that as a threat of violence, and that would not be protected. So that's the difference. So, Travis, let's go back to the board. How many points was that? 200. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Pratt, I'm going to give you the board, and you have the points.
Public integrity for 300.
Okay, for 300. When an official's property boundary is within the radius of the property subject of a decision, the official may not participate unless there is clear and convincing evidence that a decision will not have any measurable impact on the official's property. So I'm looking for the radius. How many feet?
100.
No, I saw Larry's hands first. That's right. That's right. Let's see it. What is 500 feet? Exactly. Okay. How many points was that, Travis? 300. Okay. So let me give you the rule on that. So if your property, say your personal home, your business, what have you, is within 500 feet of the car wash that you're considering, then you are presumed to have a conflict and you should not participate unless there's clear and convincing evidence that you would not have a conflict. 500 to 1,000 feet is a gray area, and there's a whole list of factors that you go through to determine if there's some kind of special unique character to your property where you would have a conflict, or there's really not a unique thing to your property, in which case you would not have a conflict. And then beyond 1,000 feet, you are presumed to not have a conflict. Okay?
Where would you locate that answer? Because I didn't see that in this.
I'm sorry, say that
Where
again.
was that? Where would you locate that answer?
So this is under the Political Reform Act, okay, which is about conflicts of interest, financial conflicts. And the Political Reform Act has an enforcement arm, which is called the Fair Political Practices Commission. And so between the statutes and the government code, which is the Political Reform Act, and the FPPC's regulations, which are in the California Code of Regulations, that's where you find the specific, feet up to 500, 500 to 1,000, and beyond 1,000.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So if I was interested in approving a taco shop, 500 feet away from my work site, who's gonna prove that there's not a conflict? Who knows that I don't love tacos?
In that, yeah, and in that instance, there's a lot of factors that go into analyzing whether you have a conflict. One of them is your employment. If you work for a government agency, you're good because the law says that salary from a government agency does not give you a conflict. Okay, but if you don't work for a government agency and you work for a private employer, then you might. So it's a very, very fact-intensive process. And we're not going to go through all that today. All I hope that you gain from this exercise is to develop a little bit of a spidey sense so that you can identify when you think you just might have a conflict. So then you can on the phone and you call me and say, Albert, can I talk this conflict issue with you? I think I might have a conflict. That's what I want you to get out of this, okay? All right. Okay, that was Vice Chair Quill's correct answer. So you have the board, sir.
Okay, planning for 300.
Okay, planning 300. By this phase, a development has secured all the needed local government approvals, also known as entitlements.
Water permit.
Yes, I'm going to give that to you. Let's see the answer. The building phase. So you're going to build some homes. They came to you asking for the entitlement permit to build the homes, but then they're going to have to go to the building official and get their building permit. That's what this is referring to. What is the building phase? Okay. All right. How many points was that? 300. Okay. You still have the board.
What is planning for 400?
Planning for 400. This kind of plan can be considered a super zoning ordinance that can dictate architectural styles, landscaping requirements, parking requirements, etc. Commissioner Garcia? No. Commissioner Pratt?
What is a master plan?
You're close. You're close. All right. Let's see the answer. Specific plan. Specific plan. So Commissioner Garcia, you are correct to understand that the zoning code can dictate all those things on the board, but so can a specific plan. Okay, and a specific plan, it's a greater authority than the zoning. So in the hierarchy of authorities, you have your zoning, then you have your specific plan on top of that, then you have your general plan on top of that. And everything has to comply with each other. But if there's a standard that say that in a given area, the general zoning might say that you got to have a 6-foot block wall. But in that area, there's a specific plan, and the specific plan says that your block walls will be 10 feet high. Which one do you follow? You follow the specific plan because it supersedes, because it's a higher authority. That's why I described it here. It's a super zoning ordinance. Okay. All right. All right. No one gets points on that. Let me have Commissioner Carloni. Let's give you a chance. What would you like on the board?
Let's go 500 for miscellaneous.
All right. You don't mess around. After a vote is taken, only a member of this group may make a motion to reconsider. Commissioner Garcia? No. So I'm looking for Commissioner Pratt?
I would say the opposition.
No.
No.
No?
I didn't like it. Can we
So, all right, let's see the answer. The answer is opposite to that.
The planner?
The answer is the majority.
Okay.
Because this is a motion to reconsider. Okay? So you have to be in the majority. So you have a 7-member council here, commission here, right? So let's say the vote came down 4-3 to approve the project or to deny the project. Okay? Now the rule on reconsideration and changing one's vote is it has to be in the same meeting. So it can't be at the next meeting. You know what? I thought about it more and I changed my mind. I voted yes on that project, but I don't think that was the right decision. I want to bring a motion to reconsider because I want to change my vote. Well, guess what? You're tough luck because you're too late. It has to happen right now in the same meeting. And if you do have a change of heart, you could say that and you say, I'm bringing a motion to reconsider. You have to get a second for that motion. That motion has to pass by a simple majority. And then you all get to vote again, assuming another motion and a second.
Would the public still have to be present to reconsider?
No, they don't.
Okay.
What if you're given false information and you ask to reconsider at the next meeting? You can't do that?
No. No, that's a hard rule. The motion to reconsider can only be brought in the meeting in which the project was considered. Any other questions on that? Okay. Commissioner Engalande, let's give you the board. What would you like?
Okay, let's do public participation for 300.
Okay. Double the amount of time. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. No. Give you a hint. It has to do with people speaking from the podium.
You give your time to the other person.
No. Looking for something specific here. We didn't have a certain service present.
What is an interpreter?
Yes. Let's see the answer. So what is the amount of time a person must be given to provide public comment when using a translator? So they come here, let's say they speak no English, or maybe they are not comfortable in their English, so they want to use a translator. Instead of the normal 3 minutes, they get 6 minutes to give their comments. Okay? All right. Okay, Commissioner Engalande, let's oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. You got it right. How many points was that?
300.
300, okay. Okay, you have the board.
What is public meetings for 300?
Public meetings, 300. This person may have an individual removed for disrupting a meeting of the body after being warned that their behavior is disruptive. Gabriel? Okay.
Sergeant Arms?
Could be.
Technically correct, but I'm looking for something different because there's something that will precede that. Who was second? Okay.
What is the chair?
Okay. But as an example, Lisa's not here right now.
What is the?
So be more precise.
The vice chair. The vice chair.
The person in charge?
Right, right. Let's see the answer. The person facilitating the meeting. Okay, let's see the answer, Travis. Okay, who is the presiding member of the legislative body? So when Lisa was here, she was the presiding member of the body, but she's not here anymore. So now Larry is the presiding member of the body.
Throw 'em out, Larry.
You mentioned the sergeant at arms, Commissioner Pratt. What's going to precede that is the presiding member saying, Officer so-and-so, I've warned them, they're not stopping, they're being disruptive. Please remove them from the meeting.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't want
So-
the Sergeant of Arms going nuts.
Right, right. So, exactly. So, Commissioner Garcia, he pretty much got that right, right, Gabriel? Yeah. How many points was that? 300. Okay. All right, Commissioner, you got the board.
Public meetings for 400.
All right, for 400. These types of meetings are prohibited under the Brown Act.
What is a private meeting?
No.
Not more than 3 people at a time?
Yes, but there's a certain phrase that I'm looking for. Do you know what that is? Okay, let's see the answer.
No collusion.
I got it.
What is it?
What is the non-legislative body? What is the non-majority?
No. Let's see the answer. A serial meeting.
Serial meeting.
What is a
that's
serial
right.
meeting? Serial meeting. So what is, first of all, what is a meeting? What is a meeting under the Brown Act? A meeting is a gathering
2 or more.
of quorum of the legislative body. So out of 7, quorum means majority. Majority of 7 is 4. Okay? Normally bodies are 5. So 3, I know that's why you were going there because normally the body is 5. Here you have 7. So you have to have 4 people meeting to discuss official agency business. So 4 of you can get together and run the LA Marathon. That's not a Brown Act meeting. Unless you're discussing official business and saying, hey, are you going to vote on that warehouse item next month? Then that would be a meeting if it was 4 of you.
Right.
If it's 3 of you running the LA Marathon and saying, hey, how are you going to vote on that warehouse item? And you all discuss it and, you each tell each other how you intend to vote on it. Is that a meeting under the Brown Act?
No.
Correct. It's not. It's not. No, it's not because it's not quorum. It's not quorum. So you have to have quorum of the body. Now, this is where I tell you that perception becomes reality. Because if 4 of you meet at DJ's for breakfast and you're not talking official business, but someone snaps a photo of you and posts that on Facebook, say, look at what they're doing. They're having an illegal meeting. They're talking about blah, 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 blah. Does it matter what you were talking about? No. Because perception becomes reality. People are going to assume that is what it was. And as soon as the LA Times article hits, or that San Bernardino Sun article hits, that, you were having an illegal meeting, do you think that the people are going to care about next week's article that corrects the record and says, actually, we talked to them and, they weren't talking about anything official? The damage is done, right?
Seeds already planted.
And the real damage that can happen is in public records requests. Because someone could say, I want any and all text messages, emails, anything between those 4 planning commissioners. And you're going to force Gabriel and his staff to spend dozens of hours reaching out to you, collecting records, going through emails, whatever, to respond to that public records request. Now, that's a legal process. They have every right to ask for the information and to obtain the information so long as it's not privileged. But the point is that the staff takes a hit. So that's why I'm saying perception becomes reality, and consider that kind of real world impact to the agency that it could have. So we went into what is a meeting. Now, what is a serial meeting? Because what I told you about 4 people running the element, that's real easy. Of course, that's a meeting. And if it wasn't noticed, then that's illegal under the Brown Act. A serial meeting is something more nuanced. A serial meeting is when through a series of conversation, it arrives to a quorum of the body. So let's say, Commissioner Garcia, you first have a one-on-one conversation, and you initially said, oh, that would be illegal. Actually, it's not under the Brown Act, if it's in person. So if you talk to Commissioner Carnoli in person about official business, one-on-one, the Brown Act says that's totally fine, that's appropriate. You can talk on the phone, you can email, you can text, that's totally fine. But a few years ago, the Brown Act also adopted some social media regulations, and they said that same kind of one-on-one activity cannot happen on social media where everyone can see it. So the difference is, if you sent a direct Facebook message to Commissioner Carloni, that's okay. But instead, if you had posted on his Facebook wall and said, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, this project we're going to be discussing next month, here are my thoughts, that would violate the Brown Act now, okay? But let's stick to the in-person example. So you discuss some project that's going to be on the next agenda. Then Commissioner Carloni goes to Commissioner Pratt's house, and they talk about it, okay? And Commissioner Carloni shares with Commissioner Pratt what he and Commissioner Garcia talked about, okay? Then Commissioner Pratt does the same thing with Commissioner Engelande and shares, again, what was previously said among the other commissioners. Now you have a coalition of 4 kind of meeting of the minds of what was discussed. That would rise to a serial meeting, which is prohibited by the Brown Act. Here's another example. Another example is what we call like the spoke and wheel example. And this could typically happen, it could even happen involving staff. Staff could talk with you, Commissioner, and then you, and then you, and then you. And if staff shares what was discussed with the other commissioners when it arrives to 4, then that's a violation. But I want you to be crystal clear that you should definitely reach out to staff in advance of the meetings when you have questions. And so long as staff is doing what they're supposed to be doing and not sharing the substance of their conversations with the other commissioners, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I'd rather you flush out your questions and get all the technical details before coming to the meeting, because that gives staff the opportunity to do some research, to ask additional questions of the stakeholders, etc., so that when we all get here together, everyone is prepared. You're prepared, staff is prepared. So I want you to feel empowered to do that. Reach out to staff if you have a technical question about what you're reading in the packet. If you have a conflict question, that's me. You reach out to me, and I will advise you through that process. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. I don't think anyone got that one correct, right? Okay, then I will call the next one. Let's do miscellaneous for 300. These are the 2 basic elements of due process. Commissioner Garcia.
Agenda or noticing and public participation?
You're pretty close. I'm gonna give it to you. Let's see the answer. What are an opportunity to be heard? Okay, that's the notice, right? And having an impartial decision maker. Those are the 2 elements. I always like to teach due process by telling a story. When I was in law school, I took a course on American legal history, and I learned about the first example of a United States Supreme Court justice being impeached and then removed from office. Impeachment is when the House votes and says, you were impeached, but it actually has no effect. Then there has to be a trial in the Senate, and the Senate has to vote to remove you from office. And if they do vote to remove you, then you're removed from the office. This is a story from like 200 years ago. I'm sure you've seen on TV how, when all the Supreme Court justices, they walk out, they go, oh yay, and they do the whole thing, and then they walk from behind the curtain, and then they come around their seats and they take their seats, right? Okay. Well, there was one justice that he walked out and he had a huge stack of papers, and he handed out copies to all of his justices' colleagues, and he handed out copies to both of the parties and their attorneys. And what it was the opinion. He had already decided the case. And then they heard oral argument. So, clear violation of due process. How? Why? Because he made up his mind before he even heard him out. Okay, they had no opportunity to make their case, either of the parties. And because he made the decision before the oral argument was done, he demonstrated his bias. He had already made up his mind. He didn't have an open mind going into the oral argument. He had already made it up. So he was removed for that. So how does that apply to you here? You are supposed to make your decisions based on the information presented in front of you. Do you recall when Lisa shared how she had a conversation with somebody outside of this meeting?
Mm-hmm.
The reason that she shared that is because you are supposed to make your decision based on information presented here in front of you, and that was accessible to all of you equally.
Mm-hmm.
If one of you had a conversation or had access to some report or some study that the others didn't, then two things are wrong that are happening. One, you are being informed in your decision-making process by information outside of this public process. And two, you have additional information that your colleagues do not. And so whenever that does happen, you should do exactly what Lisa did and disclose that and say, look, this is what happened. I had this conversation, or I got a copy of this report. I sent it to staff. Staff shared it with everyone. And so now everyone is on an equal playing field. And if they were actually like pleading their case, like, please vote yes on my project, that kind of a thing, then in addition to even what I already said, I would say on the record, I'm making my decision based on what's in front of me tonight and with an open mind. With an open mind. And that will cure any potential due process violations or appearance of due process violations. Okay? Any questions about that?
So if you
Yes,
read
sir.
an agenda,
Mhm.
you do some research on the agenda or the item, or visit the site, you're supposed to share that?
Not necessarily. What I'm talking about is when you have had contacts with the parties, with the applicants, you can absolutely do your own research. You can visit the site. I encourage you to do that. Yeah. I'm talking about when you have conversations or receive information from the project applicants. Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay.
Kind of a side note.
Yes.
So there was something that was brought up from not Illumination, but that organization, and they had said that they had submitted letters of recommendation.
Uh-huh.
I never saw those letters of recommendation. Did you all get those letters of recommendation? I didn't see
In the
it.
agenda packet? Okay.
It is? Okay, I'm gonna look.
Yeah, they were in the main agenda. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give the points to Commissioner Pratt, I believe. Is that right, Gabriel? Was it Garcia again? I'm biased against you today. I don't know why. Okay. So you have the board, sir.
Do miscellaneous for 400.
All right, 400. Here we go. AB 2904, effective January 1 of this year, requires cities to provide at least this number of days' notice on any zoning ordinance that affects the permitted uses of real property, an increase from the previous requirement of 10 days. So how many days' notice is required?
30 days?
Nope.
15 days.
Nope.
It's 90 days, isn't it?
Nope. See, the answer is 20 days. See the answer, Travis? What is 20 days? What is 20 days? Okay, that's new law. Let's go back to the board. All right, let's do miscellaneous 200. The Planning Commission may initiate this type of hearing to reevaluate previously approved entitlements if all of the findings cannot be made anymore, typically because of unintended impacts to the community or non-compliance with conditions of approval. Gabriel mentioned this in the meeting.
What is a revocation?
Yes, a revocation hearing, exactly. Let's go back. That's 200, right? Okay, very good. Okay, Commissioner, you have the board.
Public integrity, 500.
Okay. The Fair Political Practice Commission has set this amount as the gift limit for 2025.
Gift limit for, it's $5,900 for candidate.
No. No, we're talking about gift limits under the FPPC regulations.
Is it $100?
No.
No?
What is $250?
No. Let's see the answer. Really? What is $630? So, what does that mean for you? The rule is this. If someone gives you $50, you have to report that on your Form 700. Have you filled out a Form 700? Okay, so that $50 is the threshold to make it reportable. Okay, under $50, you don't have to tell anybody. $50 or more, you have to write it down in your Form 700. $630 from somebody, and they appear here because they're applying for a project or something, you have a financial conflict of interest, and you have to announce that you have received $630 or more from them, and that you are going to not participate in that item, the consideration of that item. You get up, you leave the room. When we're done with that, someone will go get you, and you come back. That's what that means. Okay?
Is that the same as campaign donation? What about
that's something different. That's something under what's called the Levine Act. And if you have received campaign donations, a certain dollar threshold, then similar. You might have a conflict and might have to disqualify. And in both instances, sometimes if you really want to participate in the item, you can give the money back and still play and still participate in the item. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
So your gift is $629. You have to retreat yourself?
No. Mm-mm.
Still gotta report on-
Or, yeah. Very good. Very good, Commissioner Carloni. Yep.
And then still gotta report on your Form 700.
Yes, still reportable. Yep. All right, let's go back to the board. Let's do public participation for 400. Filming or live streaming during a planning commission meeting is generally allowed by this law. Which law? Don't overthink it. No, this is the answer. You're overthinking it. The Brown Act. The Brown Act. The Brown Act. So typically, we have, before 2023, public agency attorneys have interpreted the First Amendment to allow this because you are in a limited public forum. And in a public forum that is generally available to the public most times, and in a limited public forum, when the space is open to the public during designated times for designated purposes, you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy. And because of that, people can film. But in 2023, the Brown Act added something specific that said specifically at a public meeting, people can film or live stream or audio record so long as they're not disrupting the meeting. Okay, so how would you know, right? What is the difference? The difference is this. Someone sits in the back and they're just silently holding up their phone like this, okay? And they're not saying anything, but they're like on Facebook Live. That's fine. No issues with that. They're not disrupting anybody. Another example. They're sitting in the first row. They're holding their phone up And in a loud voice, they're narrating to their viewers what is happening. And they're narrating in a loud way so everyone can hear. And it's hard for you all to hear yourselves talk. It's hard for you to hear what the applicant is telling you. They're being disruptive. And the presiding person should warn them to stop. And if they don't stop, then it's up to you. You can ask them to be escorted out of the meeting because they're being disruptive. Okay, so there are limits to this. Any questions about that? All right. No. No, I will not. I might film as they're being escorted out. Okay. Let's do public meetings for 500. These types of conversations do not violate the Brown Act if done in person, by email, or by text message, but they may violate the Brown Act if done on social media. Commissioner Garcia, I'm looking at you. Okay, he beat you to it. Beat you to it. Yes, exactly right, because we went through this. Let's see the answer. What are one-on-one conversations? Very good. Okay, Commissioner Carloni's come back fierce because that was 500 points. All right. What would you like, Commissioner Carloni? If in the context of a conditional use permit, this number of findings need to be affirmatively shown in the negative, meaning this finding is not met, in order to justify denying the project. How many findings? Correct. See the answer. What is one? What do you need to approve a project? Anybody? No. All of them. You need all the findings to be shown to approve a project. You only need to show that one cannot be met to deny the project. Okay? Yeah? Oh. You're being nice. I'll do that. I raised my hand on the last one. You just called it out. So okay. All right. Mr. Carloni, what would you like?
Let's go public integrity reform.
Okay. There are instances where there is no conflict of interest violation under the Political Reform Act or of Government Code Section 1090, but still potentially a conflict under this other source of law. You'd have to be real good if you get this one right. All right, I see the answer. This is what's called the common law conflict of interest. Okay? So, Political Reform Act, I went through that with you. That's financial conflicts. Government Code Section 1090 also relates to financial conflicts, but it specifically relates to contracts. All right? So if there's some contract before you, you could have both a Political Reform Act conflict and a 1090 conflict if there's a contract involved. But there's something else that predates both of those laws, and that's the common law conflict of interest, and that is from case law. Case law is judge-made law. So before there was a statute that some legislature passed, it was two parties coming before a judge to resolve a dispute. The judge made a decision. There's an opinion. That's what we mean when we say case law. So you go through every case that's ever been decided by every judge everywhere that has any authority over this city, and then you determine, okay, well, is there any case that says this was illegal? That's the common law conflict of interest. What that common law conflict of interest says is there's such a thing as an appearance of a conflict. It really cares about appearances. So the best example I can give you is a 19-year-old daughter of yours that only moved out of your house last week. Okay. And that daughter works for a housing developer. And that housing developer has come to you applying for a housing tract in San Bernardino. Under the Political Reform Act, you do not have a conflict from participating on that item, even though your daughter works for them, because the Political Reform Act says that it only applies to spouses and dependent children, aka minors. They have to be under 18. Okay, that's the Political Reform Act. What about Government Code 1090? Well, they're applying for an entitlement, not a contract. So there is no Government Code 1090 issue. But the common law conflict of interest, this is where there might be something. Because someone might say, well, yes, they're an adult, and yes, they don't live with you anymore technically, but they only just moved out. So there's a fair argument for someone to make that they are still financially dependent on you. And they could say, they're financially dependent on you. The apartment they just moved into is still in San Bernardino. This housing developer is proposing to build in San Bernardino. That's kind of like job security for your daughter. So, you know, because she has something to do. So I think that that is going to sway your vote to vote yes, because you're thinking about, well, this could potentially benefit my daughter. That's what the common law conflict of interest cares about, the appearance. And I'm not going to tell you it's definitely yes or definitely no, because those kind of issues are always very murky, very fact specific. But that's the best example I can tell you to kind of go through these various iterations of conflict laws. All right. Any questions about that? All right. Let's do public integrity for 100. This form is required from filers when assuming office, annually thereafter, and upon leaving office. Yes, Pratt. Okay, how many is that? Is it 100 points? 100? Okay, very good. I don't. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Show of hands. You have to hold me accountable too. Show of hands. All right, let's do. Oh no. Commissioner Pratt, you have the board. Public meetings 200. Any congregation of a majority of the members of a legislative body at the same time and location, including teleconference location as permitted by law, to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. Commissioner Garcia. But that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Yes, sir. Yes, exactly. Let's see it. What is a meeting under the Brown Act? We went through this. Very good. All right. How many is that? 200? Okay. What would you like next? Okay. For general plan adoption or amendments, the state planning and zoning law requires that the Planning Commission provide this. Anybody? No? All right, let's see it, Travis. A recommendation. The state planning and zoning law requires that the Planning Commission provide to the council a recommendation to approve or deny. And that vote has to be by a majority of the body, affirmatively. So that means it has to be 4 yes votes or 4 no votes. 4 yes votes to recommend approval, 4 yes votes to recommend to not approve. And sometimes you might see me, Travis? I'm sorry? What? Excuse me. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Out of 9 commissioners, you need a majority of the body, so it's 5. Sometimes if I see that there's like an even number here, let's say there's only 8 that showed up, and I see that there's like some disagreement, sometimes you'll hear me recommend to continue the item to the next meeting so that all 9 can be here, so that there can be 5 votes one way or the other. Because what could happen is if you have a tie vote, if it comes out 4-4, it's still going to go to the city council, but with no recommendation. So in that instance, I'll advise and say, think about continuing this when everyone's here, and then you can actually have a recommendation to the council, whether to approve or not. So that's the answer to that. Okay, let's do public integrity for 200. This law prohibits a public official at any level of state or local government from making, participating in making, or attempting to use the official's position to influence a governmental decision in which the official knows or has reason to know the official has a financial interest. Yes, but what is the law? What is the law? Yes, but remember we went through 3 of them? This is one of the 3. Which one? Yes? Good try. No, it's not that one. All right, let's see it. It's the Political Reform Act. This is the rule, the basic rule from the Political Reform Act. If you have a financial conflict, you cannot participate in the decision. Okay, that's basically what it is. All right, let's go back to the board. Let's do public participation for 500. This type of behavior is allowed even if it offends, as long as it does not prevent the legislative body from accomplishing its business in a reasonably efficient manner. Commissioner Garcia. I'm going to give it to you. The actual answer is First Amendment protected speech, but that would happen, with someone giving their public comment. And so someone can come up here, they could insult you. They could say very nasty things about you. They could use hate speech about you or other people. Those are protected under the First Amendment. They have to actually threaten violence or be violent for it to cross that line and not be protected under the First Amendment. All right, so Commissioner Garcia gets the points. That was 500. What would you like? Okay. Common blank. Include limited hours of operation, road improvements, soundproofing, additional landscaping, and additional parking. What was that, Commissioner Carlin? No. You had a very robust discussion today. But when you say, I like this project, but I want to see this, then you're going to impose what? Yes, but you got it. Yes, conditions of approval. Let's see it, Travis. Conditions of approval. Conditions of approval. The landscaping, right? The landscaping, the road improvements. It's the conditions of approval. Okay. Larry, you have the board. This specifies what kind of development should go where and details the standards that developments need to adhere by including density, heights, and parking. Commissioner Pratt. You don't want to give it a try? Do you remember I talked about the hierarchy? You're on the right track. Remember the hierarchies of authority? The top one was the general plan, then civic plan. The answer is the one below that. The specific plan is like a super zoning. Commissioner Garcia? The zoning. That's that bottom rung. The zoning. What is zoning? Okay, I think we're on our last one, Travis. Yep. Public participation for 100. This item on the agenda provides the public the ability to address the Planning Commission on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. Commissioner Pratt. Correct. Public comment. Very good. All right. And let's see. Let me tally it up. Okay, first place, Commissioner Garcia, 2,050 points. You don't have to call out the points. Okay, then then I'll stop there. So, yes, you're right. So great job, everyone. Do you feel like you learned something? Oh yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions about anything that we went over today? I can. Sure. Just don't share it out because it's work product. So just for your own personal use. Okay. Thank you for your time and get home safely. Good. I'm glad. Thank you. And then Vice Chair, right.
Mr. Vice Chair, no, we don't have any more reports, but thank you to Albert for the Jeopardy, and you can adjourn the meeting.